Game 3, ladies and gentlemen, here. Cloud9, 2 games up above Eager. We'll take a look at how well they do. And immediately, before we even get into picks and bans, I want to talk about bans. 3,800 HP on the 3,800 HP on the top damage dealer named
Xbalanque.
It's got to be banned by Eager.
Hang on, if Eager are first pick though, take it yourself. That's what I'd call. If it is available and they are first pick, which they are again.
Nope, there it is. First ban out of the gate. Listen, Baskin, you played incredibly. This god did incredibly. It's got to be gone.
And it is completely gone as well. What is the other ban they're going to do, though, I guess is the question. It's going to be Khepri. I talked about that in Game 1, and going into Game 2, I was like, Khepri Xbalanque. They left that side of it, and they took away Thor and Xbalanque. Is the Khepri Xbalanque too strong? Clearly, Eager think it is. After 2 games in, what are your feelings on it?
I think that after the first game, they felt they could probably deal with it, and maybe, you know, they
Work around
said,
it.
we're not, you know, we just didn't play as well as we should have, and it'll be fine. We'll go into Game 2, and we'll beat them. And now I think after that, they're like, nope. Well, we're done with this. Let's get rid of the shenanigans. We don't even want to do it ourselves. We can't secure both of them, so let's just get rid of both of them and get something else.
Thor on the table here. Giannis also on the table as well. Few other gods have slipped through now because of it. They did some focus bans last time, and we're not going to see that this time round. Where will we see Eager go?
Ooh.
Back to Bellona.
Ooh.
Back. I think that was the key because Omega felt like he couldn't do anything against as Bellona against Xbalanque. Right. So he went with Hades, and he still had a good lane. But then I still feel like now that he's off the table, Xbalanque, he thinks Bellona's the best pick.
You know, I honestly thought it was a coin flip between a Thor or a Giannis. Because both of those characters, not just for Cloud9, but just in general, wind up influencing the way you play so much.
Let's see if Cloud9 go for that comp as well themselves.
Athena.
No, they want the Athena. They're going to take that one away from PolarBearMike. They like the fact that he was on that Geb, I feel.
Yeah.
I think PolarBearMike had a pretty decent game there, but he always looks a little bit out of sorts on who to defend more than anything. And he looks a little bit, not necessarily fully lost, but sometimes you saw him move away from his carry, and his carry ended up getting picked because he was looking after somebody else.
That last 50-minute game getting to andinster, you see as he yawns while waiting for Team Eager to select their 2 options before the final first-round pick goes to Cloud9. We'll take a look at PolarBearMike. He's looking intently with his Athena off the table. Is Geb where he wants to go one more time, or will they go in a different direction? And it looks like Xbalanque is going to be reprising his role for Zapman, and we'll see a Zeus picked up for Team Eager.
The Zeus was one that slipped through the bans, which we didn't actually mention. But at that stage of the game, picking it up too, it only gives Cloud9 one opportunity to pick something against this. What would you call here, Ataxia?
I feel like Cloud9 really actually wanted the Zeus. Zeus,
yes.
MLC Stealth really loves Zeus, even when he was bad. So it'll be interesting to see what they go for. Zhong, pretty good option. He's a frontline. He can kind of run through Bellona. Bellona can't stop him doing what Zhong does.
Actually, why Zhong instead of Giannis?
It could be, I mean, it could actually go to solo. We've seen some solo Zhong play. He does act as a frontliner. He's got, you know, if you keep the passive stacked and don't use your ultimate, then he's very difficult to deal with, much like a Guardian.
We saw that out of Cyclone earlier on as well, but against the Bellona and Omega, I'm pretty sure he'll be happy with that matchup. Fenrir taken off the table as well. They want to make sure andinster, well, I guess that's for the solo lane on Baskin. That's a shot at Baskin, that one, with the Thor already being locked in.
Fenrir was one of the earlier gods that Baskin played way back when he first joined Cloud9 earlier in the fall split. Just a little bit of history lesson. The beginning of the fall split is when we saw these 2 solo laners join these 2 teams, and actually Omega coming from Cloud9, so a little bit of that going on as Neith is selected for C9.
Now we see Neith being locked in here for Cloud9 again for BaRRaCCuDDa. That last matchup we saw Zap managed to get the solo kill onto BaRRaCCuDDa here, but other things to note here is that if he's going for that, you mentioned it last game, that we've got to see some sort of hyper carry as well coming out, because you can't just rely on Zhong and Thor for the damage here. You're looking for another hyper carry. What do you expect to see?
I would like to see Baskin on something that can really make an impact. I feel that
Assassin?
with the... Ooh, Naja, I mean...
This is where Eager went when they needed a win during the last LAN they went to, which was admittedly an exhibition, but it absolutely proved extremely important. DaretoCare, now, Naja's a character that I personally have always liked. I think it does a number of things intelligently, but DaretoCare, this is also an incredible comfort pick for him, and the ability that it has to make an impact on Thor and the Neith is huge.
There's 3 things actually that this will bring with this pick as well of the Naja. The Naja can deal with Thor very well in the jungle. The sashes can stop him jumping to his hammer to get away from that. On top of that, Zhong uses his ultimate. He can take him out of the fight into the sky so that ultimate doesn't deal the damage. And the Neith, yeah, it's okay against the Neith, but they're the big T for me.
I'm a big fan about the Cabrakan pick there. Zalia is actually shown in the past, quite a while ago, that Cabrakan has a very strong lane against Bellona, especially if he opens a purple bot. So I'll be really interested to see how this plays out.
It's going to be a big bully.
We see a lot.
You said you wanted to see some sort of carry out of him. Cabrakan has a lot of burst, but as the game goes on, that burst kind of dwindles. Do you not feel?
Yeah, I feel like maybe the setup is they're going to try to get andinster to really go off with Thor, because Thor can have a tremendous impact if he gets ahead, and I feel that with the Zhong, with the Athena, they can really get to the Zeus. So I think what we're going to see is kills on Zeus to get andinster ahead, and then from there, the entire team just collapses through them.
Once again, Cloud9's focal point will be andinster for this game. We saw him last game on that Hombats have a good game. Once again, he's going to be in this one as the Thor, one of his well-known gods.
It's andinster, so I'm leaning on Thor jungle. But if it was anybody else, I think we have a little bit of ambiguity here. Thor solo is definitely a thing. We'll take a look as we get in. And it is going to be Baskin on that solo lane. Cabrakan, as we said, it's andinster. So that's why we're going to see the Thor in the jungle. But if it was anybody else, I think that might have been a question to be seen. Now, Eager, they've got their comfort picks across the board. Omega is very comfortable on this Bellona. DaretoCare has made a name. He brought Naja back into relevancy single-handedly, pretty much. PolarBearMike, not on the Athena that he loves so well, but Zapman, definitely a prominent Xbalanque player. So Team Eager leaning on their comforts.
Zeus, we've not seen too much out of LAssiz here, but one thing to note about this pick as well, combines nicely with the Naja and the ultimate. When the Naja ultimate goes up, he can preemptively use his ultimate ready for the landing as well. Have the shield propped on the ground, ready for the chain lightning bounces as well. Potential kills and setup is there for this Zeus as well. Big key, like you said, Cloud9 are going to be looking to get to Zeus. It's a key factor. If they don't get to him, the front line will destroy them as they're diving in. And it's going to be a big key for the rest of the team to protect him.
Eager have got a very scary game ahead of them. If you look at the way the lanes are going to play out, dual lane for C9 are going to have the pressure, and solo, if Cabrakan is the counter matchup that I believe it is going to have the pressure too. So really they only have the powerhouses in mid, being Zeus and Naja, both very strong early to try get them into this game. Otherwise, what we might see is a repeat of game 1 where Cloud9 is constantly putting pressure on the jungle and stopping Zapman get into relevancy.
Well, let's go into a little bit about this solo lane matchup and why you view that Cabrakan is, excuse me, such a nice matchup against the Bellona. A large part of it has to do with the way that Bludgeon is deployed and how many abilities that Cabrakan has to stop that.
Yeah, Cabrakan is a very naturally tanky character as well, so any poke that, the normal chipping down that we see the Bellona do is very difficult to deal with when he is so naturally tanky. And if you slap a breastplate on him or something with physical protection, Bellona's going to do next to nothing.
Well,
he already went hard time locking him down as well. He
already went Vanguard, which you can see there, so he's definitely gone for the defensive route here to make it difficult for him. Big taunt though onto Zapman early on, and a good shield from Michael, get him out of danger. But the last time we saw that in the laning phase, BaRRaCCuDDa missed that spirit out. This time though, does connect. Right Hoppies went to Eager, and now they're contesting the lefts.
Very early aggression coming out from the Zeus and the Naja. Pretty standard and expected, honestly, but Cloud9 not shying away themselves, push Eager back into their lane pretty physically.
Yeah, Dare took a bit of poke then, but you did see that Eager picked up one of those camps there. You saw the lightning effect on the Harpy, which shows that Zeus was the one to secure that one. So Eager, a little bit of a small advantage on those Harpies to begin with. And as you said, that's going to be important for them in terms of how their other lanes are going to do.
So coming back to this solo lane, right now we see Bellona pushing Baskin back on the tower. And we were mentioning how well this goes in Cabrakan's favor, but not off the bat. How long is Baskin going to expect to sit underneath this tower?
It's a very niche matchup, not something you're going to see a lot of the time. It might be that the lack of a power pot has actually influenced this matchup negatively because you can't force Omega off.
And Omega's actually putting the pressure on now. Just sat in range so that he can't walk out the tower, otherwise he's going to take damage. Did get hit by the stun there, you can see the bludgeon cancel, but those Archer minions early game hurting a little bit, but thankfully the Vanguard is there to soak it.
Mid lane, middle laner, and jungle grouping up one more time. The clear out of LAssiz and DaretoCare is going to be very strong. They're able to not just clear the wave, but these backcams between the ring and a chain lightning, they are just annihilated.
They just hit 5 as well, so keep an eye to see if Cloud9 hit 5 of the back camp here as well. They should do, I believe. No, they haven't. And so andinster is a little bit under threat here in the mid lane because they will look to all in him potentially. Actually, DaretoCare didn't hit 5. It's just Zeus at the time being, but he'll be 5 now. And he's got to play this safe for the time being because if he gets hit by the ultimate, they could wombo him pretty hard, similar to what we saw previously.
We saw it in the first round. We saw Naja just go directly for it. Eager opting to play it a little safe this time around, not going for the immediate level 5 kill just yet. As we take a look at the dual lane, Cloud9 significantly winning this, and Neith versus Xbalanque, I mean, this is pretty much...
Rinse repeat. Repeat last game is Athena replacing Capri. It's not that much of a big difference between the two in terms of wave clear whatsoever, and Neith's push power is just very, very strong early on. Zap, though, going for the Transcendence, and you can see across the way BaRRaCCuDDa. He's looking for the full boots into Soul Eater combo.
Dare's here.
Can he find anything, though? That's
Dare's
a
on
question.
the left side. He's still yet to walk over a ward. Not a lot of vision by the guys on Cloud9. And I think Dare's going to sit here.
Bit of a poker face there from Eager. He kind of gave a tell there of how far they pushed up that lane. They've not been pushing up this far before.
Up in the air.
But look at that. They're going to find BaRRaCCuDDa walking around to check the corner. And with that ultimate coming out as well, he should die. Backflip gets cancelled by the darkest of nights.
Beautiful play by the boys on Eager as andinster comes along with support for the ride. Taunt not going to be used, and now Eager looking to turn around. But the rotation from
Zeus.
MLC Stealth is here.
And so is LAssiz, and that's going to force the disengage from Cloud9. Eager off to a fantastic start for themselves, getting first blood and now invading onto the purple. Need to be a little bit careful here, though. They do still have the Zeus ult.
This is dangerous right here for Cloud9. It's a 3-on-3, but there's a Zeus ultimate, and MLC Stealth taking all sorts of damage.
MLC!
But he's dealing it as well. The ultimate is out. The stun is strong. One basic is all he needs. Oh, but the detonate comes a hair too late. Here's help, but PolarBearMike is second too late.
And meanwhile, you also see andinster pick up the kill onto DaretoCare. Unfortunate circumstances for Eager there, but Cloud9 are off to a good start. Their mid lane and their jungler against this lineup of Eager. You were saying it's a very, very key matchup, this, considering how the other lanes are going to go.
And you can see this is exactly why they drafted. The second Zeus got picked by Eager, they went straight to Zhong because he does so well. He can do nothing as Zhong runs at him. And that's the worry for Eager going forward, is how can they stop the Athena ult, the Thor, the Cabrakan, the Zhong going on Zeus, because Zeus is going to be very key for them to deal the damage to win these fights.
If MLC Stealth was playing virtually any other mid laner, it would have been toast, hand over foot, Team Eager's way to go. But because MLC Stealth is able to be tanky while dealing out the ultimate damage, and not for nothing, the stun, it went the opposite way, and Cloud9 is now leading 2-1.
2-1 for now, but the golden experience relatively still even because of the first blood going over to the boys of Eager to begin with, as you can tune in and see Mike over this side of the map as well, just farming up the jungle for support at the moment, and you can see Zapman just clearing out a ward at the Golf Fury early on.
Rolling on into mid is PolarBearMike along for the ride is DaretoCare. We've got 3 members of Eager here in the mid, only 2 for Cloud9. Well, that's really not too much because I don't think Eager wants to initiate just yet.
I think that's one thing as well that Eager need to be keep an eye on in this game is the mobility of this enemy team. They've got 2 globals available to them in Thor and Athena, and they found that pick on to BaRRaCCuDDa, but it took them such a long time to do it that it allowed the reinforcements to turn up for the engagement that followed afterwards. And maybe they bit off a little bit more than they could chew, looking for that purple.
Left side looks to be a decent commit
Checking
from
for
Team
sentries.
Eager. They're going to come around the back, and channeling the ultimate was Neith, and it was enough to see LAssiz die in the mid lane, and unfortunately, Eager not able to capitalize.
That rotation clearly got spotted by Cloud9, and the instant call from them was to go aggressive on mid lane, knowing the support and jungle were not going to be there to support LAssiz in mid. They find another kill. Cloud9 are playing this to a T right now.
While the gold is very close at the moment, Eager do need to realize that LAssiz is getting very far behind very quickly. Stealth is getting very far ahead very quickly, and these, while the goal doesn't quite indicate it yet, this is where the difference is going to be, and Zeus needs to get safer, needs to be more prepared to watch for all these all-ins.
Andinster looking for the pick onto Zapman here as well. Did use the hammer and the ult, and now with DaretoCare being over here as well, they will disengage, but that's surprising how quickly you saw LAssiz die mid then, because I expected Andy had used ult there again. Hadn't, and now LAssiz got to play this very safe in the mid lane. As you can see, the 2 really looking to keep the pressure on. He's being kept off the farm here.
Very smart play by Zapman in the left side to not go into his lane, instead into the jungle. Right now, in the jungle, DaretoCare going to pick up a Thor, and he got some help as well. Dodge on a little bit.
He's dead. He's dead. The card through the wall will secure it, but now Stealth is in trouble. He needs support from Athena with a big taunt. Zeus will pick up the kill, and that's monstrous for LAssiz.
That's why you see the ultimate used there. A lot of people probably saying, save the ult. Why use the ult on just one guy who's going to die anyway? But that kill has to happen. If that kill gets away, like Ataraxi was saying, this middle lane can snowball out of control very quickly.
It was a 2-level differential between them now. It's only 1 now that we've seen LAssiz Stealth fall down there as well. Gold difference between the two, close to 500. Still a lead though, but it's good signs for Riga.
Those are the moves that Eager need to come into play. Like Ataraxi was saying, the attention needs to be paid to this mid lane. Eager has to, and as you can tell from that kill, they definitely realize that the differential is in the mid lane, so they need to keep that up. As we take to the right side, these guys have been relatively quiet. Omega leading by about half a level above Baskin, 11-10. And Omega, who always present in his enemy's blue buff, there's 2 members here, but he'll still stick around.
Yeah, he didn't see Jeff there until he had to walk around the corner, and now he's definitely just going to disengage from that. We spoke about it the last 2 games after Ataraxia. What are the team's compositions all about here? Because we can clearly see you saying about Cloud9 looking to charge into the backline. What's Eager's game plan here?
Eager's game plan, they've really got it. I think Zeus is the central focus of this. Narjan needs to get key targets out of the fight so Zeus can survive and deal all his damage, and then Zapman comes in and clears it up. On the other side, Cloud9, they have so many tools to stop this Zeus, it's going to be quite difficult. They've got the Cabrakan walls, which are going to lock him in. Thor can go extremely deep. Athena with a blink and a dash and a taunt is going to be very problematic, as well as a ult. And then Zhong just walks. So I think the key for C9 and for Eager is how...
Oh, good decision from DaretoCare there, absorbing the World Weaver while in the air, using the ultimate onto Zhong, but a nasty dunk from andinster's going to put him in a world of hurt. Stealth picks up 1, they're looking for LAssiz. Is the damage from the card going to be enough? No, Jeff diving around the back, he's going to go back in, looking for it, gets the ton, reach not enough, LAssiz survives, but guess Cabrakan has arrived!
1 HP, and it doesn't matter. Baskin slaps him upside the head and takes off LAssiz, but Zapman rotates from the long lane and picks up MLC for himself. Probably not enough to recoup the losses, but Baskin still searching. Perfect ultimate on a Zapman, drops the combination, and Zap looking to die. BaRRaCCuDDa with the last hit on the enemy hunter.
Tremors. Omega went aggressive there with the support of Zap to try and kill off Baskin. Maybe they should have looked to focus onto the wall behind him to get the escape route available for his boys, but in the end Cloud9 came up on top in that fight because Baskin's rotation made the biggest of impacts.
You could see the weakness of the Cloud9's idea. They're focusing on the Zeus, and correctly so, they go deep, but if they go too deep and he gets out and they have to overcommit like that, what you find is that as they're trying to get out again, they're going to get picked off by Eager. So they need to be very careful to make sure they don't go too deep, especially if they're not going to get anything for it.
Go deep, but not too deep. Baskin going deep himself now onto DaretoCare, who's in a lot of trouble here. With the damage onto andinster was going to force him back. LAssiz turns up to secure a 1-for-1, and Baskin surrounded by 3. He's going to bravely run away, but PolarBearMike's giving chase. Changes his mind when he sees Stealth.
DaretoCare, this is a problem. Whenever you look at Eager doing well, DaretoCare is the driving force. I mean, this guy has been so successful for Team Eager as an aggressor, as a guy doing the majority of the damage. And we're seeing here in this game, it's a lot about Zeus. Well, who's got to set up for the Zeus? It's got to be Dare. And unfortunately, he's sitting 1-4-2. We need to see more out of DaretoCare.
I think what we may need to look at seeing from DaretoCare, though, is instead of trying to be aggressive, sit back and be another peel frontline for Zeus.
Exactly.
Use these sashes, use the ring tosses, use his ultimate to keep LAssiz alive. If he can do that, they're still in this one and they're still in a good spot. Allow PolarBearMike to be the aggressor with Omega.
But Cloud9 is correctly paying attention to Zeus and DaretoCare because they understand exactly what you're saying, is that DaretoCare is the facilitator, basically, to open up the channel to allow LAssiz to do whatever he wants. And with Cloud9 preventing that, it's going to be a tall order for LAssiz to get off his damage.
Well, once again, we can see the Soul Eater build coming out from Zapman as we tune in with the experience and gold there. Both only just in favor of Cloud9 at 11 minutes in. No Gold Furies looked at just yet, but we're starting to get to that point where both teams will be eyeing him up.
I think the scary thing that we saw in these brief skirmishes before was how much of an impact the Cabrakan actually had. He set up all the kills, and you can see how devastating the low mobility that Eager's team actually has, and how Cabrakan capitalizes on that.
Well, aggression once again. PolarBearMike a little bit caught out of position here. Has to beads, which I think is wise, and rolls out away from the danger. I actually feel like PolarBearMike baited that on purpose by hanging around so the rest of his team could get out. Let him focus their attention on him. Yeah, it'll cost me beads, but hey, we'll all be safe. Pretty good call from the lad there. And one thing to note, you mentioned in Baskin again on this Cabrakan. when do we stop talking about the damn gods he's playing as being good, or are we just going to start calling the guy himself good?
Oh, no.
Clearly, he's stepping up something rotten right
I mean, I've been saying it since the beginning of the series, and sure, a little bit of last game was a little bit of Xing Chen, but you got to look, when you're looking at gods like this, especially out of the solo lane, you got to look at the positioning of the character and where he is. You know that kill where JeffHindla died because they dove far too deep for LAssiz? Guess who was sitting behind a tier 1 tower in the correct spot at the correct time? It was Baskin. During game number 2, guess who was constantly on the back line of the backside where you didn't expect him to be? It was Baskin. The positioning of Baskin is what's really making him affect these fights and, in turn, these games. That's why a big part of Cloud9 sitting 2 games up to none.
And what a big factor when you think about the fact that Cloud9 lost Omega at the start of this split, and they looked in the pool and found this diamond in the rough Baskin. Not that many people had really heard of him. Yeah, he'd been around the scene a little bit, but no one expects him to be as good as he's actually showing here.
Sure, he had played with some of the players around, specifically around the Denial squad with Mace of the Face and Shadow Q. So he's made the rounds. He's known in the ranked community and the professional community as well, and really just coming up Cloud9 and being able to really perform. And one of the things that I like specifically was when he first came in, as we said, the Fenrir was banned out.
Rotation left here from Stealth, actually. Oh, not sure if you noticed it. They were looking for the aggression, but Zap, well aware of that one. As we start to get to the second items being picked up after boots now, seeing the Warlock Sash come out for the Zhong, pretty standard. Crossed away, though. Look where LAssiz has gone. Ethereal, hold that for Dez dead.
Just stuck in the combination one more time.
Maybe
Forced
not.
to ult out, but he body blocked essentially by andinster, landing on the ground. Will be the jungler, but MLC Stealth is the one to make the impact, taking out DaretoCare. Here comes the rotation out of Omega. The slam, not enough to seal any deals, and while Cloud9 all very low, forced out of the fight.
Only targets he could hit there with a Guardian, so he's just going to force BaRRa out as Zapman, wisely so, realizes they can look for the gold for you here. Good turnaround from the boys of Eager. They lose DaretoCare, but maybe they can pick up the gold.
Yeah, it's all about finding the small windows of opportunity. Very low is the gold here, but here comes Baskin. Eager does secure the gold, but Baskin still hit and go. Omega winds up taking out BaRRaCCuDDa. He was just trying to zones him all the way to the fountain. Meanwhile, Zapman able to deal enough damage to take out the mid lane. Down comes Andy. He's looking for more. One goes down, but Omega takes out Baskin. It's andinster versus the world, and the world comes out on top. Zapman with the double kill. JeffHindla picks up Zapman, and now it's just the 2 tanky characters, but Omega has 6 levels on Jeff.
He won't get the kill though, because preemptive strike will be up any second. There you go, away to the wind he goes, but what a crazy fight backwards and forwards. Gold Fury goes to Eager. The fight though, crazy as it was, it felt that went to Eager as well.
Yeah, I felt like the penny dropped actually there for DaretoCare. He found out that he is Naja, and he is going to get focused there. You can't really get away from these gods, and you could just see that moment when he's trying to get out of the wall, and instantly he turns around, he's like, I'm going to die regardless, so I'm going to take someone else with me. And he made they made the fight really messy.
Yeah.
That forced Cloud9 to all have to back. They were all so low. Then they got the goal free off it, and finally the rest of the picks.
And
I think that's because he decided to go back in. He accepted, I'm going to die a lot this game. My KD is going to suck, but I'm going to make them pay for it.
But now he could turn this into a, get put into a difficult position, lift him up in the air, wait for the rest of the team to collapse because it buys time, and that's where Omega turned up.
Right. This is it's odd for a lot of our fans at home because it's the Naja pick, but you see this consistently out of Thor players. When the game starts, I'm an assassin. I'm here to deal damage. And then as the mid game comes around, especially if you're not ahead, all of a sudden you become a control-oriented warrior. We're seeing this out of DaretoCare. As you said, that was the moment. That was the light bulb went on in the head.
They're looking for LAssiz again, Will Weaver, and you can also see that Andy's in the sky with the dunk. LAssiz goes for the full damage. The shield from PolarBearMike gives him a life for a second, but Andy's double tap is good enough. Fight's still going to go on. Zapman has turned up here, as has Omega.
Rally here, says Omega, and MLC Stealth taken out by the hammer of Omega. Fight still raging on the left-hand side. Baskin needs to find a way out, and the wall from Andy separates him and his team. JeffHindla taken out by DaretoCare, who's still alive, but andinster takes out Zap.
And now Omega's still looking for the pick onto Baskin, being body blocked by BaRRaCCuDDa and Andy. As they start using the enhance to beat down the warrior. Andy disengages. BaRRa should have backflip. Maybe he doesn't. Oh, he's put himself in an awful spot. BaRRa may fall unless he's got the mobility to get away.
Beautiful play by the guys on Cloud9 to prevent the aggression onto their teammates. BaRRaCCuDDa still here.
The teleport, that's why.
Baskin coming back right here, pulling the old Omega. and they're going to aggress onto the red bot.
Very dangerous situation for BaRRaCCuDDa to be that aggressive, but he knew his teammate was coming. That's a tough order to ask for a Hunter.
I would have been out of there. I'm going to be honest. I would have been running for the hills long ago, and you could see the trust. You know, Baskin says, "I'm coming. We can do this. We can do this." BaRRaCCuDDa stays. He knows how much damage Omega can do. He killed him in the last fight, but he's like, "No, I'm staying. Baskin's coming. We can turn this. We can get this red buff."
Well, look at this mid lane though. LAssiz is sat. Well, 1 second. Baskin's going to go ham on him again for a second or two. No ultimate available with PolarBearMike there, but look at Lass. He's managed to pull these back to even with stealth after all the craziness of the early game of Lass being 2 levels down, 500 gold down, back to even.
You want to talk about a lead? Switch that around. Look at the solo lane. Baskin has been running this series. You give Omega a comfort god and a couple of things go in the way of Eager. All of a sudden,
a lot of gold.
Omega's leading by 2 levels and a lot of gold. That's over 1,000.
Both making impacts for the team once again, these solo laners. They're the biggest talking point for me here in this matchup is that solo laners have been, and that I think is just a stronger factor North America have right now over Europe.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, Omega just plays his game so well. And one of the things that I started to talk about earlier was that Baskin is a multifaceted player. He came onto the scene playing things like Fenrir and very aggressive, and a lot of people said it's Cloud9's very own Cyclone spin. Aggression in the mid lane, I don't think it'll come out to anything,
cost
really.
beats, though, on LAssiz, which is one thing. And now with Andy being here, oh, they missed an ult. They missed 2 ults, really. And now Andy's going up. Will he look to dive down? I'm not so sure. He was thinking about it. He's pinging the rotation coming out from Omega, so they're all back away.
That's a satellite ultimate right there. Andinster goes up in the sky and calls out the rotations. Omega's coming, Zapman's coming.
Fight coming out. BaRRaCCuDDa may not want to take this one. He lost the last one, but this time he's got an Athena. Had to stand still, though, because of Darkest of Nights. So the aggression subsides, but hang on. Teleport coming out. Oh, even Andy comes over to the fray.
Yeah, and Andy, seeing Andy with this teleport on Thor specifically, but on his junglers is no surprise. The Cloud9 jungler has been picking up the teleport, and it makes sense if you think of the jungle position at the most basic level.
This is a funny situation. Oh, hang on. Stealth going ham on LAssiz. LAssiz has no backup. Will Weaver from Barrel with the one to isolate him and kill him. But Dare's trying to trade it back onto Stealth. The shield from PolarBearMike will keep him in the fight. The poison tick is enough from Zapman to secure the kill on Stealth. And now PolarBearMike chasing after the andinster with DaretoCare into the ring toss is good. The slash is better, and they'll find another kill.
Great play on a DaretoCare, and he's going to bring Cabrakan into the sky, dealing absolutely 0 damage, but more importantly, taking him out of the fight.
Keep Zapman out of the fight for a second. DaretoCare escapes BaRRaCCuDDa low. Cataclysm from PolarBearMike allows Omega to secure the kill onto him. Meanwhile, though, Baskin does take out DaretoCare and a nice chunk of Zapman's health as well, but now he may be a little isolated.
Omega's got to come around. I mean,
Zap's got to watch his position. Zap's got to watch his position so much, and I think that's why they'll give this one up here.
Yeah, Omega's going to chase, and we'll see Jeff being chased by his support, but ultimately, at the end of the day, Baskin still has an E-staff and a breastplate. He's still level 17 Cabrakan with some natural tankiness going on.
Baskin realized he was dead then, unless he went aggressive, and luckily enough, Zapman was just close enough for him to hit. Positioning is so key in those situations there.
Absolutely. I think one thing as well we can see there is how the Cabrakan versus Bellona matchup goes is that the Bellona can slow lock someone, but Cabrakan's small immunity allows it to get away. And I feel like it's quite important for the survival then. He knew that he could just stall and wait, scares that man off, and then when he gets solo immunity, he can walk away. And you can actually see, there's actually an interesting matchup between them, because obviously Cabrakan can't use his one to stun when Bellona hits the Scourge as well. So it's a back and forth matchup between those two. Both obviously frontliners dealing damage and zoning out, and they're both, once again, still making an impact. But andinster 4, 3, and 8 right now, working, looks towards that Mail of Renewal right now.
Very close game we've got here, 21 minutes in, 14-16 on the kill charts, and as we take a glance at the graphs, Eager is actually in the lead for the first time in a while. They're down 2 games. Cloud9, of course, is the best of 5 series, so Cloud9 just need 1 to secure their trip to Worlds. Eager, however, climbing up the mountain, they need 3 wins in a row.
Double tap coming out there from andinster, just showing his face as the ring toss is responded by DaretoCare to get the clear. Goal Fury for me on this next engagement is going to be absolutely huge. I think if Eager get this one, they could really look to snowball this. Yeah,
this is the pivotal goal for at this time. It's worth a lot. It's enough that usually you have to get a team fight or a couple of picks to get it, which really propels you in the lead.
At the moment, you can see clearly that both teams are well aware of that and starting to position themselves around it, clear out the wards, and actually BaRRaCCuDDa going to start this one up as PolarBearMike clears the ward on that side, and with the rotation of Baskin, should be signs that the Gold Fury is under threat.
Yeah, that ward was just placed, and PolarBearMike saw it and immediately took it out. Speaking of immediately, Cloud9 immediately looks towards the Gold Fury. There's
Zapman catch
eager
Barra
threats all over the place. Zapman on the left-hand side pops his own. He's going to go
he's going
straight
too
for
deep.
BaRRaCCuDDa, surrounded by the enemy as MLC Stealth positions himself well. Here comes Dare, bringing the guy into the sky while the ultimate is going on. It is a strong look. Baskin takes a lot of damage out of Zeus. He's at about half HP, pound to the ground to do what he can, but all of the damage from Eager is onto Baskin, and it's enough. Dare secures the kill onto the soul.
Well, they do lose Zapman. Hang on a second, Omega looking around the back to try and make this worthwhile, taking that red buff. And meanwhile, though, BaRRaCCuDDa pinned in an awkward spot, trying to fight his way out. Will he get out? Yes, he will. The wall of the taunt are good. Spin to win, says andinster, and Barra picks up the kill. LAssiz on his way back with Chain Lightning's available. Gonna throw it down and get some decent poke. Not enough for the detonate kill. Meanwhile, Omega versus Barra in mid. No Spirit Arrow connects, but Barra will survive.
Barra able to dance well enough to avoid the burst from the bludgeon. It wouldn't have killed him, but it would have opened up the ability for Eager to come around the backside and hit him with a couple of basics. By Cloud9's Hunter being able to dance a little bit to avoid that bludgeon, very important juke. Either way, both teams lose a little bit enough to leave the Gold Fury standing. Baskin dead and a couple of abilities, and JeffHindla so low, Cloud9 doesn't want to go for gold, and with DaretoCare dead, it's just too risky for either of these teams to head towards the objective.
I was a little bit worried then because Zapman dived so deep, I don't think he realized that he wasn't alone there.
Yeah.
And then it was his team bailing him out, but they bailed him out really well.
I think he got a bit excited for the 1v1 kill with BaRRaCCuDDa. He's like, this is my, my time to shine. And it got him in a bit of trouble, but his team was ready to bail him out, and it worked out pretty okay for them.
And the Darkest of Nights is such a good thing against A, Neith, because if she backflips at the wrong time, she gets stunned out of the air. And B, Athena can't ult the Neith at the same time because she can't see.
Yep.
So he realized that by doing it so early, puts him in a prime position for the kill. If he realized, though, that waiting around the corner was MLC Stealth, I guarantee you he would have had second thoughts about that. But it worked out okay for Eager.
A little bit of throwback Zapman right there being over aggressive. But as we said, it wound up in the 1-to-1. And to be completely fair to Eager, Cloud9 had started that Gold Fury. Cloud9 had gotten that Gold Fury down to about half HP. If Zapman doesn't go as aggressive as he does right there, that Gold Fury might have gone to Cloud9.
Wow. Zapman realizing he was fine then, didn't even use beads and just beat down Jeff. And there's DaretoCare in a bit of a situation again, going to use the ult preemptively to put the pressure on, but Stealth still chasing down, looking for the kill. Shield's going to absorb some of that damage, and with Zapman here as well, Stealth is out of his ultimate. His protections are lower.
DaretoCare taken care of by the mid laner as Baskin picks up one for himself, but Zapman takes out MLC, but that's after the damage has been done. The jungler is gone and off the board. It's a 3-to-4 fight right now in favor of Cloud9. Eager still pushing it because of how low JeffHindla is, and make that very low. It's at 0. Zapman takes the kill onto the support, and now Eager is ready to go. 1v1, Andy versus Zapman, hammered away because of how successful Zap was on that one.
Meanwhile, Omega pushes back the other two teammates. Gold Fury is a potential opportunity for them. Maybe they don't feel like it's a good idea, though. It looks like they're going to go for it. The ward is still there for Cloud9. They know this is going on. Who's here to defend? Baskin teleports in. Andy teleports in as well. Baskin has his ultimate, and immediately the boys of Eager disengage.
With a 3,000 gold lead, I mean,
They've cut him off.
Ooh.
Oh, no. I actually thought for a second we're going to see PolarBearMike get sandwiched there between the two wall boys, and it would have been a bad day.
So with a 3,000 gold lead, this is always a curious statement. I want to pose the question to you. So at which point is it worth it to take the risk? When you're ahead 3,000 or when you're behind 3,000 on the Gold Fury?
I feel like it's always at this when it's so close and these fights are so, they're literally on the wire.
Right.
I don't think anyone's really looking to get the goal through until they've won the fight, and that's the important thing. I think the team with the lead, so Eager, they should really feel themselves and try to get these picks as much as possible. And Cloud9, it's a they can either be trying to defensive and try capitalize them when they go too far, or look for themselves if they're really feeling like even though they're behind, they can still do it.
And you said that yourself as well, as we see some aggression in mid lane from andinster once again. You said that it's all about getting picks around the Gold Fury and controlling that. That's really, really important for them.
I feel like one of the key things of this fight, we've seen DaretoCare try to do it a few times, but he's only successful once, is that when Zhong ults, if he takes him up into the air, it literally neutralizes his ultimate, and then he pops down and he has no protections and he's an easy kill. And I think that kind of ultimate is going to be absolutely key for Eager taking this game.
Especially for later game as well. We know the Gold Fury is a big objective for this one now, especially at this stage. We know it's worthwhile. Team that takes this one, if it's Eager, it's looking very strong for them in this. Cloud9 relatively bring them all way back to even once more.
Mid laner in support here for Eager. Taking a look towards the mid lane as Cloud9 heads towards the left-hand side. Both of these teams want to be heavier on the side of the Gold Fury because of all the tactical reasons we were just discussing amongst ourselves.
It's also because Tier 1 towers are down too, so both solo laners are like, well, we can't really go and farm that because if we do, we'll lose it. When they get the teleports up, keep an eye on Baskin. He'll go back to right when his TP is back available.
Right now, Gold Fury being sort of thought about right now. Eager might have the upper hand. Cloud9, though, they want to make things happen. Let's ride along with them.
I'm ulting Bracken.
I need help.
Yeah, I'm here.
I got a huge dunk, I think.
Okay, let's pull out
Ultimate. We need to get out. We need to go, I think. I need help with the back.
I'm stuck on the wall.
I'm backing.
I got nothing. I got stuck on Baskin.
Yeah, that was a really bad Bracken ult.
It's all good. It doesn't matter. Let's try and back out.
If we're going in, we need to make sure we're going in.
We went in. Well, I got
Bellona's just killing our backline.
You want to just try and poke her first?
I don't know. Should maybe just wait 20 minutes.
Okay.
Should we just not fight, or what should we do? Like,
Maybe not, yeah.
their
Just
comp
kills
is
our
way more
backline.
late game on them.
We're fine late game.
Yeah.
Two big keys to that fight there for me, which were really clear. A, they didn't kill LAssiz. They went to the back line, they were looking for him, but the front line was so good. And poor old Baskin and that wall.
Baskin is silent. That's what I take away from these comms. Sure, the wall was bad. You don't need to hear an apology. This is a pro-level game. You don't need to hear this stuff. But I don't hear him at all in these conversations.
I think for me, the two big things I really liked was DaretoCare. He actually ulted Zhong, so his ult didn't do anything. And I really like from Cloud9, the positive take from this is that even though Baskin made, it was a very, that could almost be a game-losing mistake. Yeah. But straight away, you heard them say, don't worry about it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
get over
exactly.
And big key to momentum.
And that's what I always take away, specifically Jeff. Jeff seems to be the sort of equalizer on this team. You heard one of the players sort of say, yeah, man, that was an awful wall, almost with a little bit of like aggression on there. True. But Jeff was, as Anorexia said, instantly, not a big deal. Not a big deal. We lost it, not a big deal.
Jeff's one of these guys in comms, though, as well, that the moment he messes up, he'll tell you. I'm like, God damn it, I'm awful. He does that a lot all the time. But now you can see that on that side of things, he's the opposite when it comes to somebody else. Like, don't worry about it, bro. We still got this.
Exactly. And I mean, you don't have a coach in your comms. And I mean, when it comes to high-level smite, there's a lot of X's and O's for the coach, but there's also a lot of personal management that has to do with it. And with that in mind, you got to have that on your team somewhere. And knowing that that's Jeff on the side of Cloud9, it's very important. That was a bad wall. Eager's now sitting 6,000 gold in the lead, which is a very big lead. But still just the level-headedness of Jeff to be like, you know what? No big deal. We're 2 games up.
But that's pretty key as well to make sure it's no big deal, because you don't want Baskin second-guessing himself when he goes in these engagements. If he misplays a bad wall once, fine. If he does it too many times, it could be an issue whether he doesn't go in with it.
Sure, and what we've seen out of these walls have been coming sort of instantaneously right into a combination of the ground pound out of Cabrakan, and that's the first bad wall we've seen. The rest of these walls have been to prevent somebody from going onto a tower, to lock somebody in against the wall, they've all been guaranteed death. That first one was the only one, that one right there was really the only misplaced one, so no reason to get in a tizzy about that.
It will be important to see if that really shakes his confidence or not, and looking forward we should see how he does with that. Can he make more game-changing ults, hopefully for the side of Cloud9 and not against them?
Oh, right now he's being pushed away by Omega towards the mid lane here. Teleport coming out to mid there by andinster on the backside. Probably looking for an ult to defend. Omega now swinging into mid as well as the grouping is now starting to happen. You can see BaRRa's position around the side with a World Weaver. We may see it engage. No, it's one from Eager at the same time.
PolarBearMike grabs 2 with the stun, and JeffHindla already taken out with the rally here by Omega over the top.
Oh,
There's a strong ultimate out of the jungler. Rather, Baskin, Zapman takes it out, but Zapman able to take down Andy.
Zapman got out, and now he's going in. He's putting the pressure on, and they're going to get a Tier 1 tower off it as well. Nice dash coming out from DaretoCare to pin BaRRaCCuDDa. Beats it down, Dare picks up the kill. Tier 1 tower down, they can look for the Tier 2.
That's the fight Eager wants. The 6,000 gold that they got from the last engagement opened up this window. They have the power, they have the items, and they have the momentum and the confidence. The Tier 1 goes down, the Tier 2 goes down, and taking a quick look at the right side, the Phoenix is going to go down as well.
I really want to point out the positioning of Zapman in that fight.
Yeah.
He knew they were coming from the side, and he used Cabrakan's wall to literally block them off, so he could then go into the key targets while being protected from the side.
They're looking for Zapman, but a Sash is going to save him, but no, Zap stayed in the fight too long. Shield from PolarBearMike. Maybe they can turn this, but Zap should fall down. They take the Baskin out of the fight. Just got no damage. Baskin will get the kill finally on Zapman, but they should both pay with their lives there as well. Or will they? Will Baskin get out?
That Phoenix was almost guaranteed if it wasn't for Baskin barreling down the mid lane. So, again, we were asking, will his confidence be shook after that wrong ultimate? I don't think so. Baskin comes right down, saves the Phoenix by himself. Shouts to DaretoCare. Excellent ultimate. I saw you get excited about that one out of Axie.
Yeah, he took him right out. It was a couple more ground pounds until he was dead.
Only guy that really, and you could see Jeff couldn't do anything there as well.
Yeah.
Go back to that fight though. You could see, you talked about Zapman in that engagement. Cloud9 focused onto LAssiz. They pinned him in big, double walls, tremors to death. But Zapman, realizing that they're going to look for one of those two carries, he split himself nicely. Then comes back in and cleans house pretty much and put Eager in the spot that they find themselves in.
And what a great spot it is. We're just past the half-hour mark. The kills are close, but the gold certainly isn't. Only 3 kills separate these two teams, but more importantly is the near 10,000 gold lead by Eager. That's really, once you cross into the 5 digits or the high 9s, that's where this lead starts to become real scary. You look at 3, 4, or 5, you're like, couple of gold tiers and some towers. You start to look at 6 and 7, you go, all right, that's 2 team fights. You look at 10, all of a sudden it's a much different feeling.
Not even the last 2.
Sorry. I feel like Zapman, we're seeing a very different Zapman than last game in that he seems to be taking a lot more risks this time. You can see he's died more than he did last game, but he's also gotten a lot more kills, and I think this is what they need. He was a bit passive in the last game.
Right.
And he wasn't getting what he needed to get on the board, and this time he's taking these more risks. He has died, we've seen some negatives, but most importantly, he's actually having a big impact.
Those risks are actually, his team are backing him up with him too. You saw that on that one as well, so it worked out really well for them. Also,
not for nothing, it's amusing to me because, as I said, Zapman was sitting here going, oh, you know, I'm not going to be as aggressive, I'll be a little bit more passive, and that's sort of, you know, the community, you know, jump into level 2, dive a Phoenix, you're Zapman. There's a happy medium there, right? And at the end of the day, there's a reason that Zapman became the player he is, and he became the player he is being overly aggressive.
I thought you were going to say went to Worlds, because he's trying to go there. Now, as you can see, Fire Giant is going to be pushed out here by Eager, and the pressure on.
I think the longer we see this set go, I think we're going to fight. As you talked about the happy medium, I think Zapman's going to really come into it the more the set goes. We've seen him go too far sometimes, and we've seen him be too passive, and I feel the longer this goes, that he's going to find that perfect balance and really open the setup.
And you can see putting poke pressure onto Baskin there. Nice little poke damage coming out. Meanwhile, on the other side, andinster walling off DaretoCare and LAssiz from swinging around the side. This game at the moment is 2-0 in favor of Cloud9, but Eager are holding this game right now.
And I mean, going back to Zapman being aggressive, that's a part of Eager's makeup.
BaRRa is in trouble. BaRRa got insta-ulted round the corner from DaretoCare. Can he get out in time is the question. Backflip and beads will save the day for now. But now the reinforcements of Cloud9 are here. But BaRRa's out of this fight.
I'm looking at Baskin. He's right in the middle of everything with a Thor and an Athena coming on down. But LAssiz is able to drop the ultimate in the perfect spot. 2 down already for Cloud9, and Eager looking to make that quickly into more. But MLC Stealth pausing as Zapman hits the ground thanks to the mid laner. Omega picks up Jeff. That's 3 dead on the side of Cloud9, and only Zapman had to pay for it. Team Eager comes up on the better side of that
fight. Here's the reason they came back up is because they're big boys, LAssiz and Zapman. They're doing the right thing. They're split all the time, and when one of them gets caught, the other one is killing off the team. It's working out beautifully.
Absolutely. I mean, you need to kill both. They're absolutely both tearing through these fights, and you can see when they kill one, the other one cleans up.
BaRRa looking for the steal. Can he get it with the Spirit Arrow? Unable
my
to
gosh,
do
I thought
so.
he got up for a second. He's going to pay with his life now. But I tell you what, I'll salute you for the attempt.
Got to give it a shot. DaretoCare cleans things up with the Universe Ring Toss. Fire Giant on the side of Team Eager as they're sitting pretty. 6 kills up and a slew of gold as well. The only one without Fire Giant is their Hunter, Zapman, but he's been doing fine without it.
He's doing great. The whole team of Eager are doing what they needed to. Considering how the early game went for them as well, Dare being behind, LAssiz being behind as well, Zap stepped into the fray. He stepped forward and put the team on his back for a while and allowed them to come back into it again. That one fight that we saw where we keep talking about it, to be fair, but when he went aggressive onto BaRRaCCuDDa there,
oh yeah,
that just brought Eager back to life. It felt like it regenerized them and like, right, we can do this.
I mean, like I said, that's this team's sort of identity is Zapman being aggressive and the team following suit, and Eager is working off of that. That's the catalyst, right?
Awesome.
Zapman starts things and forces his team to respond, and all of a sudden, what seemed to be a rescue mission is an all-out assault.
On top of that, you've still got Omega here, full build, full Hide of the Urchin stacked up as well, 7-0 and 18.
That's what he does.
What a damn scoreline that is. That's huge.
That's
amount.
what he does.
7-0 and 18.
25 out of 29 kills from the solo laner.
Yep.
That's you can see how much of it he really stemmed the bleeding. Cloud9 were getting picks early on, and he came in and he really salvaged
Take
it.
a snapshot right here. This is typical. Omega is 20 feet ahead of his teammates because A, he knows that he's tanky as all hell, but B, he's creating the distance. Do you want, even if Cloud9 decided to defend that tier 2, which they weren't.
They need to defend here. Tonk from JeffHindla does not connect. Meanwhile, on the backside, Omega still under pressure. Andy dunks in looking for pressure.
Good
but
for
immediately,
C9.
up in the air goes DaretoCare with one, taking him out of the engagement. Cataclysm on the final call down for PolarBearMike. Baskin looking for Zap will find him, but he'll pay to the price to DaretoCare.
Fat Loki deals the damage and takes out the Hunter. Zapman's dead right now, but the rest of his team cleaning up shop. 31 kills on the board as Omega clears the board and takes out JeffHindla himself. That opens up the Phoenix to be taken down. There's no Hunter, but there is a Najah, and the Phoenix falls.
Good news for Cloud9 is Zapman did die there. The Hunter being dead means they can't get too much more off this push. But once again, I don't think Eagle will be upset by that because that was the only one without the Fire Giant.
If there's a Zapman alive there, I think they get 2 Phoenixes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing DaretoCare land these absolute money ults. He's taking Zhong at the second he ults, he's in the air, he's doing nothing. And then a Zhong out an ult is a sad mage.
And he's going up to the sky here, maybe to crash down. He's actually looking for LAssiz. A lot of damage onto LAssiz there. Where's his support? He's got to juke out under a tower. He will fall down, but claim the life of andinster in trade. They were looking for the greed option of the tier 2 pressure, but they went the wrong route round and they got punished at Eager.
LAssiz takes the spell, does pick up the jungler alongside. So, I mean, that's what we're seeing here. Eager are... They've been a little, I mean, again, aggression is what makes this team work. They lose their Hunter because they're going over aggressive. They pick up a Phoenix. They lose their mid laner because they're trying to be a little over aggressive on the right side. They take out andinster. That's what Eager looks for. They're not this team that goes, takes 2 and leaves. They don't surgically excise little individuals. They go all in and they lose something for it, but they come up on top. And if you take a look at the gold Hindu, I mean, we're talking in the 90s to the 70s right now.
We're talking to the 16,000s. That's where we're talking in terms of the gold right now. Absolutely huge.
We can see Zapman actually critting for 1,000. That's without a Fire Giant. I mean, he's going to be really scary in these next fights. He's got his double crit on. He's got his Transcendence. The amount of power he has behind these hits is, you know, fully stacked as well.
So for me though, Cloud9 is still in, right? Obviously the game's still going, but Cloud9 have one thing that I think I want to see out of them, and they need to split their front line. They need to send one after LAssiz, one after Zap. By splitting it or both going for the same target, it's not working. They realize this obviously, but they've got to try and find a way where Baskin maybe chases Zap, and meanwhile you see Andy go after the Zeus. It's probably the only way they've got a way of getting back in this is stopping these damage dealers and one of them surviving every fight.
I feel if Stealth can get a big ult off without being taken up to the air, then they could really swing this as well.
So they take Dare out first, you reckon?
Maybe if they can get him to back off.
Well, they're taking out PolarBearMike right now.
Cloud9 trying to isolate the players. They've split up 2. It's a 5-on-2 on the backside. Right side, Zap. Dare will come down on the sky with a player up in the air. Down comes Thor, right on top of PBM. He's being forced out of the fight, so no shields available. Cloud9 are on the upside, but Dare's the first one to make things happen. Omega separated by the wall out of Andy, but LAssiz takes out Jeff in the jungle. All of a sudden, Zapman forced to be evasive, but it doesn't matter when you have the rest of the team in the corridor. 2 for Dare, 3 for LAssiz. That is a deicide. Eager is trying to bring this one back. That is game. There are 60 seconds on everybody. Eager takes game number 3.
Well, we say that, but which way are they going to take? I'm pretty sure he's going to go for the Titan here. The Fire Minions are pouring down left-hand side. They're taking the Phoenix in mid here, first of all, by the looks of it. Nope, they're going to push on for the win. Is it secure? I don't know. They're taking the safer option here.
No, there's 30 seconds.
Respawn forever anyway. I just didn't want to count my chickens before they hatch there and they all go do Fire Giant or something.
You know what, that's kind of fair. That's kind of fair, but
we mentioned, I was just mentioning before that fight even started there, was the whole situation between the team was they need to split the damage and take out the damage dealers. You mentioned about DaretoCare looking for a pick on him. Cloud9 went for the pick on PolarBearMike. Invested a lot into a full health Geb, and it takes a lot to bring him down. They nearly caught him, but then the rest of the boys showed up and Eager won the fight.
This was a full-out team win from Eager. I can point out something for everybody. Omega just doing Omega things, being 8 million 0 and 8 million. I mean, you put one of the most important things when it comes to having a good slash line is kill participation, and that's exactly what we saw out of Omega. Zapman and LAssiz combined to be the Eager twins and be aggressive. And then you take a look at DaretoCare. Most important part is accepting what happens. Look, I'm supposed to be aggressive. I get shut down early. Not going to be able to make this happen.
All he had to do until late game was peel.
Exactly.
And that's what he did. He set up LAssiz and Zap to stay alive. Those sashes were absolutely crucial so many times. And now we find ourselves in a 2-1 scenario.
So it's a 2-1 at BaRRaCCuDDa. Do you think that the next game goes to Cloud9, or can Eager bring it to Game 5?
I think that Eager, they're going to ride this momentum. They're a very, momentum-based team, and I'd like to see them take this forward. I think both Hunters are probably going to be angling for a hyper carry, though, because they've both done exceptional work on Xbalanque.
Good call.
And I feel like that might be a key.
I definitely agree. It's an exciting one here. We're going on to game number 4, but first, let's talk to the analysts.
Do you guys agree with BaRRaCCuDDa? Do you think Eager is going to ride the momentum on this and take another game 4?
I mean, like I said, I've seen it before. We might see it again. This set is probably going to 5, and I did call the Naja, so more than likely C9's probably going to ban Naja this next game.
Why did Naja do so well in that game?
It's a very comfortable pick for Dare, and it puts out a lot of pressure. And I think the most important thing for me was how Dare kind of evolved his play style after he got shut down. I know the casters really took note of that. He went straight, he didn't build into crit until his final item. He went straight into the Male Renault, which is kind of standard now, but then he went into a Titan's Bane, and then he went Magical Defense, and then he built the crit once it became late game, and he could really make an impact. A lot of times, too, he was looking to ult the Zhong out of team fights, make sure he couldn't be as effective, and I think that was an important key.
Bird, what do you think Eager did different in Game 3?
It's hard to say. I think for the first time, really, they had the initiations. I think that was a big thing missing, where they had, like in the first game, we commented on the fact that PolarBearMike had the blink from the start, never really used it, maybe only 2 or 3 times the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last game, or in the second game rather, then he had the blink and he couldn't really get the initiations. He got the defensive ult on Geb, but he never really got those golden initiations. And then here I feel like finally DaretoCare helped out with initiations on Naja, and it really helps PolarBearMike step it up and follow up on those initiations, basically.
The most important thing that Eager changed was the fact that they banned Xing Chen. They didn't allow Baskin to do that, and we saw the Cabrakan a little bit lackluster that game. There was one time in a teamfight, very crucial teamfight, where the Cabrakan ultimate cut off Jeff and MLC from coming back into the teamfight, and that allowed, I think, Eager to get the goal theory afterwards. And what also was a factor was the fact that Zapman, he was very comfortable about playing aggressive with PolarBearMike's Geb shields. And the fact that Omega was very far ahead on the Bellona allowed him also to play aggressive, and that was like Eager's play style.
I mean, Zapman on Xbalanque was just so strong, but we're not going to see a Xbalanque ban.
You never know, honestly. Both these players, BaRRaCCuDDa and Zapman, love the Xbalanque, and as we see him on the screen there, he was doing work that whole game. He got 6 stacks around the 25-minute mark, 20 to 25-minute mark, and with the Geb shield allowing him to be aggressive, we more than likely could see a Xbalanque ban, maybe 3rd ban, but I think they're going to pick it before the 3rd bans. I don't think they're going to let some of these mages go through in the first bans.
Who else are we not going to see go through in the next game?
Hell and Xing.
Just
probably
the mobile
Xing
ones,
again.
probably.
Xing, I think, is gone from this set, whether it ends
from
here
the
at 4
entire
or,
tournament?
Probably. I think a lot of the teams that are still remaining have kind of felt that god, how powerful it is. I think that's going to be a permanent ban alongside Hell. I think those are going to be our core too, and then we'll see some switched in and out. I don't think there's really anything targeted outside of the bans we've been seeing. I felt like Eager aren't going to be too worried about Athena. Jeff, I know Bird was actually mentioned a lot, was going very hard sometimes in team fights without the follow-up. Like, whatever the comms were, Jeff was very far pushed up. I want to take note of specifically one of the final fights on the left-hand side when Eager were sieging that left Phoenix. Baskin actually dives super deep to kill Zapman, giving up his own life, but he trades it out. And most importantly, he takes out the Hunter who has Fire Giant on him. And then Jeff's kind of still up in that team fight by himself while the rest of his team is at the Phoenix, and he gets picked off. And I think that really allowed Eager to take that and keep keep up the pressure when they should have had to back off.
So do you guys think Cloud9 needs to just be a bit more passive? Maybe something that we've seen from Enemy where they allow Eager to engage and then they counter-engage?
It's also going to depend on their picks. They were a little bit lackluster because of the Cabrakan, and they didn't have much initiation with the Thor, much successful initiation with the Thor compared to DaretoCare on the Naja. So if Cloud9 is first pick this next game, we're going to probably see a Naja ban.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm interested to see, honestly, if Cloud9 or Cloud9 decide to go with first pick again or second pick again, or if they try to mix things up a bit, go for the first pick option, which they haven't had before.
Yeah, actually, Eager has had full control of picks, I think.
Full control.
Yeah, because Eager had that. They had Seed, and then they lost the following 2 games. So I think it'll be a pretty interesting Order side or Chaos side here. And what they value. I'm still waiting for someone on Order side to just throw everyone off and like leave open a ton of OP picks so they get 3. I don't know if that's going to happen, but
yeah, it doesn't seem to. Why do you think that's going to make such a difference?
it's risky, but and also you give kind of the other team the chance to pick up 2 important picks, and you may not get 3 important picks. Like it's easy to say that we'll get 3 really powerful picks, but you kind of give it to the other team to control the pace of what you get versus what they get.
I mean, honestly, there's really a lot you can do with that. If you do decide to ignore the priority picks, if you will, then you can ban really interesting stuff. Like I know we had a plan coming into the first LC game where we choose first pick and we ban Circuit Odin, force out the Hellban, and then there's all of this stuff open.
Yeah.
And we knew that we prioritized Neith and they didn't. So all the time we would always have 1 more priority pick than they would. So if we have that Neith, we could always get 1 more priority pick, for us at least, than they could.
What's interesting compared to the first 2 games was the fact that Zeus and Zhong was banned games 1 and 2, and then this is the first time we saw Zeus and Zhong this 3rd game, and we saw Zeus outshining Zhong in the performance. So whoever's that first pick might be leaning a little bit towards Zeus.
How does Zeus outshine Zhong, who's like this tanky frontliner, which everyone seems to be prioritizing?
A lot of times, actually, Cloud9 were fighting into the Zeus ultimate, especially in those late game engagements. I don't know if they didn't respect it or what the positioning was, but they were fighting into a lot of the ults.
Yeah, there was one time in the Tier 1 mid towers, a very safe fight for C9, but the fact that the Cabrakan ulti the Zeus, he used a defensive ulti, and then I think Zhong was trying to use his ulti offensively, but with a huge AoE ulti like Zeus, cutting that distance off. Some people in the backline now wanting to engage past that Zeus ulti, so it's a good zoning tool as well as a damaging tool.
Now, who else in the mid lane could we possibly see here?
It could go...
We haven't gotten to see LAssiz Raw yet. That's something I would still like to see.
Yeah, you keep mentioning Raw. Why do you want to see his Raw?
I think Thor, Athena, Raw. I mean, we've seen the Thor, Athena on both sides now, and it is so good with Raw. It is like the best comp you can have in. At least it was at one time before. I guess Aegis was a bit more, purchased, but it's just such a clean combo because if you get that lead, which Eager have been getting, they've had these small leads in all these games. If you get that lead, you can just push and push and push and push, and you just win the game for free, basically.
Well, maybe we'll see Raw in Game 4 as we join the casters right now.